Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to A View from the Fourth Floor. My name is Khalid, and today we're going to talk about a lot of things, namely some of the developments that's happening at work, uh, Arsenal Football Club, and general topics. So, first to Arsenal. Sunday's game was a roller coaster ride. I think the Gunners were 1-0 down again, but this time after 25 minutes or so. Marcus Rashford curling in a wonderful shot into the back of the net. Manchester United fans were excited, jumping up around. Um, I saw a reaction video collection on YouTube looking at how the reaction of the fans were fluctuating from ecstasy to despair throughout the course of the game. So anyway, we went down 1-0, but true to Arsenal form, we got back immediately with Martin Odegaard's shot, equalizing goal, and then the game, became more interesting. Right? There were a lot of chances, but you can't really say one side dominated over the other. Regardless of the end result, which is a win to the Arsenal 3-1 win, it kind of flattered Arsenal a bit because I think Man United did have some chances. They had a goal ruled out correctly for offside, and I think Arsenal also had a penalty called not given. It's fine margins, but at the end of the day, it's a good 3 points. And after the disappointing draw we had with Fulham, means that the season has truly started for the Gunners. So I think now there's an international break. So let's see if we can maintain or continue the momentum. Moving forward, and hopefully this season will be another season where Arsenal has the opportunity to show the Premier League what we're made of and not fall short at the end of the hurdle. Fall short again like last season to Manchester City. Okay, so next on the agenda, I just want to talk about how work and basically our lives are being changed. It's being changed by generative AI. When we talk about generative AI, what comes to mind? People talk about ChatGPT, people talk about DALL-E, and all these various tools that incorporates generative AI capabilities into their offerings. Now, I'm coming from the point of talent development, and I think we see that there's a lot of opportunities for certain tasks or works to be accelerated and enhanced. I remembered creating a podcast episode leveraging on ChatGPT to kind of generate the script, and compare it with actually writing a script and getting generative AI to help you with the script. There are certain differences, certain nuances that you need to kind of take care of, because providing a kind of a personal touch to it, from the context of what the system turns out to eventually becoming what you say. To add some value to it, you need to put your own personal touch. But anyway, in the context of talent development, I think I'm experimenting or playing around with using tools or generative AI tools to help you with crafting certain learning journeys, coming up with recommendations of reading, learning some of the materials, the activities, and I can say that it does help you a lot in trying to come up with the initial part of your work, right? and this is good because ultimately, as talent development professionals, you need more time to think about the impact, the solution, coming up with how your proposal or your action plan will eventually benefit or affect your target audience. And I noticed, I mean, leveraging on generative AI, there are a lot of other use cases. Now I'm talking about, for example, if you're in HR, um, some of those repetitive manual tasks, crafting letters, coming up with job description, and all that, a lot of those can, now be done using generative AI. I tried one point, I mean, trying to just see what you can do, generate job description for certain positions, um, and you do see, various results that kind of helps you, or cut short some of the time that you require to manually write certain tasks. And again, this is not saying that the human or the function is no longer needed, you know, because for generative AI to work well, especially like ChatGPT or prompt-based um, technology, right? You need to be able to ask the right questions. You need to be able to frame the context of the answers, and the more specific you get with this activity, the better results you will achieve. And I guess it goes to show that whatever technology that is available, there is still that requirement for a human to really understand how best they can take advantage of those technology. Now, there are other use cases as well. I mean, part of my job, I think we were working with a team trying to come up with um, some educational videos, talking head videos, explainer videos, to talk about certain area of their work. And I introduced introduced them to three main AI tools. Personally, I use to ChatGPT. There was, I think, Google had their Bard, and I think Microsoft with their Bing Chat, and I think all three give various results of varying degrees lah. I guess at some point, I mean, when you talk about ChatGPT, there's that limitation of data that they have until September 21st, no, September 2021, and so it's not really good for coming up with a recommendation on more recent events. But if you're talking about writing, coming up with scripts and all that, that's quite okay lah. I mean, you can use it for that, and I find that the writing output from ChatGPT is considerably better than Bard or maybe Bing. Even though Bing is using the same framework, they're using ChatGPT as well. But anyway, I digress. So with the project, I think we were supposed to come up with certain videos, and I think they were struggling with scripting, and I introduced them to the tool. And basically, wow, you come up with a 5-minute script for a 5-minute video in under less than 3 minutes. And the best part is the results. I mean, it looks like it fits whatever that they need to achieve. So it goes to show that you can use certain tools to help accelerate your work and make it even faster, but you still need someone, or you need that human to kind of validate or make sure that everything is as per what you require. So moral of story here is generative AI, take advantage of it, use it to make your work more efficient, make your work better or faster. At the same time, don't be left behind, because everyone and their uncles are on board and using generative AI in some way or form. And if you're worried that, hey, maybe my job will be at stake, AI will replace my job, AI can't do everything, and the person or who you should be threatened more of is not AI, but more of a person who can use AI to the max, or can really take advantage of AI to make their offering or make their work, further differentiated from yours. So don't be afraid. It's a tool. Learn it, use it, and see what happens. Next up, talking about sustainability, climate change, and all that. I recently completed a course or training on sustainability, and I just want to share some of the insights or some of the takeaways from the course. No specifics here, but I think the key takeaway is the reality is climate change is serious business, guys. I mean, it's real, it's here, and everyone has a role to play, especially in terms of our own sphere of influence, our own area. Some organizations have set up commitments, net zero carbon emissions by 2050, and with that commitment, there are certain actions that needs to be taken to ensure that you're on the right track, and it's no joke, guys. I mean, there is that need to be really ambitious and be really out there in terms of setting targets. I think Malaysia, especially we are also on board. We have made certain commitments, and with that, it means that certain behaviors or certain business actions or certain activities needs to change, or we need to be more deliberate in terms of where we want to go. I think some of the initiatives, some of the actions talking about electrification, talking about decarbonization, and these are all based on science, right? I mean, there are facts to support why we need to do certain things, why we need to ensure that carbon emissions are being brought down to a low level, to ensure that in the future there will not be further increases to the temperature and whatnot. But it's serious business, and the thing about all this commitment that we are, as the world, there are different levels of readiness or different levels of requirements, maybe, or energy demand requirements, because when we talk about some of the commitments, about emissions, it is tied to economic activity or growth activity, right? So in certain areas or certain segment of the world where you are already achieving a certain level of development, you're not, or you'll be less suppressed, or you have more flexibility in terms of what you need to do in terms of lowering your emissions. Whereas in other areas of the globe, where you're still developing, where you still need growth to make sure that people have a high level of income, development is spread across, then you're like, how do you balance between the two, right? And when you talk about the distribution of the areas of the countries that contributes most towards carbon emission or towards climate change, they are now getting or asking the rest of the world to also contribute or to also cut down on certain activities that leads to more emissions. But the fact of the matter is, we are where we are now, hundreds of years of development, and who has been benefiting from that, years of economic activity. And for now, to now then say that everyone has to do the same thing to ensure that the world cuts down on emission, it's kind of not really fair. So I guess that's the challenge that we have to face. I mean, I think there were certain examples given, certain countries that are most affected by the impact of climate change, like contributes around 1 or 2% of overall global emissions, but they are the most affected. And if they were to cut down or do a lot of those activities that will reduce emissions, it doesn't even put a dent on the overall, the global levels. So what I'm trying to say is, I think we have to look at our own activities or our own contribution and see where best we can contribute or we can cut down. Especially, when there's technology development that gives us options, enables us to look at what can be done to make our operations more efficient, make our supply chain more green, and these are all efforts that needs to be taken consciously. And it's not just lip service, when you make a certain commitment, especially like net zero carbon emission by 2050, there are milestones, there are steps that needs to be looked at to ensure that you're on the right track. So I think what I've learned is basically when you use science and facts, use data to back up whatever that you need to do, then it'll be more convincing, or you can argue your points better, and you can come up with actions or initiatives that is ambitious, have ambitious targets, and work towards achieving it. And you need to put in the resources. You need to put in, the setup teams, or really dedicate resources to actually drive the change across. And the things that you as an individual can do is look at your own sphere of influence. After completing the course, I think it was a bit of a struggle because I was balancing time, personal and stuff. But it's good. It's good that course opens up, your eyes to certain realities that sometimes you choose to ignore, or you choose to not accept. So for me, I think climate change is real. It is something that we need to be consciously addressing, and we need to put in the right levels of commitment and resources to ensure that we leave our future with a fighting chance to tackle the climate crisis. Okay, last topic. I think this is a bit, just for the gamers out there. I don't know, because I'm 44 years old and I still play video games. It's a kind of escapism, escapism. Like some people have hobbies. I have video games. Just want to share about the last video game that finished. For those RPG fans, it's Baldurs Gate 3. Man, that's like one of the best game that I've played ever. It's of a long list of games, but it's really, really great. Just want to share a few things about the game. I mean, of course, it's an RPG continuing from a long series of games. I think the older Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 were developed like decades ago or ages ago, with BioWare coming out with the two games, and then this is the new studio, Larian Studios. So the game gives the player a lot of leeway on how you want to play, the different styles. There's consequences to your actions. There's a lot of well-written dialogues. The storyline is great, and you can spend hours just tinkering around with your characters and ensuring that you have the right build to complete it. And man, I must say that the quality of writing and also the story is brilliant. And another thing, just want to share, because I was playing the game using GeForce Now. I think if you're familiar, GeForce is a cloud-based subscription where you pay a monthly fee and you get to use or you can get to play games by the cloud. So you don't really have to have a gaming PC or anything like that. You just have to have a good internet connection, and yeah, you can play anywhere. I was playing on the TV, on my iPad, my computer, and that to me is a great demonstration of how technology is making it easier for us, right? because buying a good gaming rig like costs you thousands of ringgit, and with a like 50 ringgit subscription a month, you have access to like kind of the best computers for you to play video games in. So it is not an advertisement for GeForce Now, of course. To each his own. If you have a good computer at home, yeah, be it. But if you need some flexibility, that's an option. They do have like different packages, I think, for because GeForce Now is being brought in by Yes, and they have differentiated package. If you're a Yes customer, you only pay 30 ringgit a month. If you're not, you pay 50. So yeah, that's an option lah, I guess. And back to the game, I think Baldur's Gate 3, ladies and gentlemen, if you're a RPG gamer and you're not playing this game yet, oh man, you're missing out. Yeah, so of course, you need to manage your time. You might, accidentally spend hours just leveling up, exploring all the dungeons, interacting with your character, trying to, strike up relationship with other NPCs and all that. Oh man, so game responsibly, ladies and gentlemen. Don't neglect other things, and make sure that you try to play responsibly. Yeah. So anyway, so that's the episode for this time. I think trying to make it a bit more structured, but hey, at the end of the day, just want to get your messages across out there. So thank you for listening. If you have anything you want to add, just hit me up in the comments, and if you have any other topics that you want me to talk about, please share. So see you in the next episode. Bye bye.